Hello everyone, welcome to A Dad, a Son, and a Game.
Roll the intro. Alright everybody, we're looking at Lords of Waterdeep today. This game is from WotC, Hasbro, Dungeons & Dragons, whatever brand you want to put on it. It's for 2 to 5 players. It's a pretty cool little worker placement game that plays between 1 and 2 hours. And to get a better understanding of it, let's take a look at the gameplay. Okay, so Lords of Waterdeep. This game is all about taking over control of the city of Waterdeep, which I'm not a huge D&D player. I jumped in on the Pathfinder stage, but apparently Waterdeep is a much storied and talked about city in the D&D lore. At any rate, you're trying to take over control of Waterdeep with a pack of, like a faction of your own workers and a leader. So basically, you are assigned a lord, and you pick one of the factions. So here are the faction cards. They kind of blend in with the board here, but they all have these cool like logos, and it's well thought out. At any rate, you flip it over and it becomes a player mat. And there's different parts on here. There's the agent pool, which these guys here are the agents. The agents look like this. I have a photo up for you guys on that one. And all your agents, well, there's a certain number of agents that are assigned in each game. On a 2-player game, you would start off with 4 agents, and then in round 5, if you can see over here where it says round 5, it says release agents. So you would get this 5th agent on round 5, because by that time, a lot of things have been built up, and you need more people to occupy things. So it makes sense. But anyway, I've picked a faction now, and I have my little agents that are going to be working for me. But every faction needs a good leader. So we're gonna go ahead and we'd be randomly dealt a leader. So here's the leader that I have, and this is secret knowledge to me. So if I look at the player mat here, Lord of Waterdeep, placed face down under the mat. So I would only know this, but I'm assigned to Durnan the Wanderer, and he's basically, his backstory is he's an adventurer who owns a pub, and he gets extra points at the end of the game for every type of quest that I complete of a certain type. For him, it's commerce and warfare. So every time I complete a commerce or warfare quest, I get 4 additional points. So I keep that hidden underneath my board. And this little player mat here is going to be useful too to store. We're going to put our workers. Our workers are here, actually. The workers are agents. And then it's a little complicated because there's 2 kinds of workers really for you. The hero type workers are going to go end up staying in my tavern, and then after I complete quests, they'll go face down here if they're not ongoing plot quests that give me an ongoing benefit. So I'm going to skip to the board now, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about the player mat here in a second. The board, though, I do have these agents that were assigned to me, so we take turns placing them. You have a nifty little first player marker. So let's say I was first player, I'd place them in any of these spots. Now here's the different things that are on this board. I'm going to start up here at 12 o'clock and work my way around the clock. The Cliff Watch Inn is where you get new quests given to you. So you have 3 choices when you get a quest. You can either get a quest plus 2 gold, a quest plus an intrigue card, which we'll talk about here in a second, or a quest from a set of new quests. So we wipe out these quest cards up here. I'd get 4 new quest cards out, and I'd pick one of the brand new ones. Otherwise, you have to pick one of the 4 that's already face up. Going over here to 1 o'clock, is the tavern, and that would give me 2 of the black cubes, which the black cubes represent like rogues. So basically, that's what I'm going to be getting when I get the black cubes. And then I also can move over here to 3 o'clock to the plinth, and the plinth is going to give me the white cubes, which I believe the white cubes are clerics. So I'd get 1 white cube if I place a worker here, get 2 black cubes here. Aurora's Realms Shop gives me 4 gold if I place there. The Builder's Hall allows me to build one of these buildings. Now this is where this game kind of gets a little better than vanilla. That's making me sound like I don't like the game. But at any rate, you build buildings from here, and these are going to give you some of the better placements. So like this one here is just one example of the kind of buildings you get. Well, as the owner, you would always get an intrigue card whenever someone placed there, and it says that right here in the bottom where it says Owner I. And then this one says when purchased at the start of the round, place a purple cube on that space. So at the start of every round or when it was purchased, you'd put a purple cube there. And like I guess the idea is that you could eventually have, 4 or 5 purple cubes there if you keep putting purple cubes there and no one takes that placement. But purple cubes are pretty valuable, so I don't see that getting too high. Okay, so next we move on to Waterdeep Harbor, and then this is where we talked about intrigue cards earlier. You get intrigue cards at various points of the game from doing different things. So like some of the other placements that we're going to talk about yet, but then also when we came up here we got an intrigue card. Well, intrigue cards, here's an example of an intrigue card. It allows you to get something that happens that's going to help you out. And then it's either going to be, most of the time it's neutral or even beneficial to the other players, but sometimes it is like an attack where they have to discard one of their workers or something like that. But an intrigue card is going to definitely help you out. So we'll take a close look at that. And that's what it looks like. Basically, and this tax collection one that I'm showing you here allows you to take some money from the supply, and each opponent can pay you 4 once to score. So to score 4 victory points. So if you were in a game where the money was not tight and people wanted to pay you to get some points, they could do that with that intrigue card. And so in order to do an intrigue card, you place it Waterdeep Harbor. Now, when you place it Waterdeep Harbor, the interesting thing on that is that guy's going to chill there until the end of the round. And then at the end of the round, he gets to go somewhere else. So basically, he gets to cash in an intrigue card for you, but then he also gets to go to one of the vacant buildings that's left at the end of the round. And usually there's not a whole lot of good things left, but he would get to do at least something else. So you almost get 2 actions when you go to Waterdeep Harbor. Castle Waterdeep is the next one as we go around over here at about 8 o'clock. And I know you guys are looking at this board at 90 degrees, so it may not make total sense. It's more like 11 o'clock to you guys as you look. But Castle Waterdeep allows you to take the first player marker, and it also allows you to get an intrigue card. Blackstaff Tower allows you to get a mage, the purple cubes. The Field of Triumph is where you get your warriors at, or your fighters. So you get 2 fighters and 2 rogues when you place. You only get 1 of the clerics or the mages when you place there. So they're a little more valuable. Now let's take a look at one of these quest cards here. Let's go ahead and look at, this. Investigate the aberrant infestation. I probably didn't pronounce that real well, but it says basically, I'm going to show you a picture here of that. Basically what happens on this one is you are going to try and complete the quest by getting the required workers, basically. And I don't want to say workers, I guess the required personnel to do this. So you basically have 1 white, 1 orange, and 2 purple to complete this. And this is actually a little bit trickier to complete than you might think, because the purple cubes are a little bit rare. And then when you do complete that, you would get 13 points and an intrigue card. And that brings us all the way around the placements, the basic placements you can do on the board. But as you build, a couple other things on the main board here I need to show you real quick. As you build, you stick them in one of the building spots, and then also your faction gets these little chips that are kind of cool how they have little notches in them, and these fit right into there. So, I mean, I don't know if you can see that very well, but they fit in there real nicely. So now it's very apparent that I am the owner of the House of Heroes when I built it. So, at any rate, that's pretty slick how they do that. And you do want to get those buildings built because you do get those extra benefits. The Builder's Hall is always a hot spot. I've seen a lot of games happen where people get real focused on completing quests, and they complete a bunch of quests early, but don't build buildings, and it ends up coming back to haunt them because you get a lot of power from your buildings towards the end of the game. You do this 8 times. You put all your workers out, collect your goods, do that 8 rounds, and then whoever has the most points at the end wins. You get points from completing those quests. And as we looked at the quest card earlier, I'm going to pull that up again here. We'll look at that quest card one more time here. You can see on the top of this quest, it says Arcana. Well, my Lord of Waterdeep, if you remember right, he was interested in me doing warfare quests, and he was interested in me doing commerce quests. So the idea is that he's trying to influence the town through using commerce and warfare, and that's when I get my bonuses, is when I complete those types of quests. So essentially, I'm going to try and complete those types of quests to match up with my Lord of Waterdeep and get those 4 bonus points for each one I complete. And that is secret knowledge. People have a real good idea of how many points you score because you score on the outside track as you go with these little chips here. So like if I'm playing with the green, I just show you the green. I move the green around the track as I go. So you have a real good idea of how many points your opponents have until the end there. And that's that end scoring when you score up your extra bonuses for your Lord and for your extra workers. Again, workers is a complicated term in this game a little bit, but when you have those extra people that can complete quests for you and the extra money, you actually get boost your points a ton. So you can think that you might have a comfortable lead or feel like you're way behind, but if you maximize those bonuses just right, you can come up and make a lot of ground up. So at any rate, that's the main board in a real quick, just like kind of a nutshell. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how your little player mat area would work real quick. Okay, so here's your player board, and if you look up here, you see you have your agents in the little agent area storage. It says agent pool right there, so you put your agents up there. This is my first player marker, and then a couple quests. You get dealt a couple quests at the beginning of the game. You also get dealt a couple of intrigue cards, and you keep your intrigue cards private knowledge to yourself, so I would keep those, face down here in my hand. And I don't share that information. So there's these quests here, and I'm trying to complete these quests. That's the whole point of winning the game. And it shows on the quest cards. Here, let me show you another quick shot of the quest cards. It shows in the top part the requirements to complete that quest, and then it shows you the reward down below. So if I complete the top part by getting those cubes or those people that are going to help pull off this task, I'm able to go ahead and do what it says there. So I'm able to investigate the infestation if I'm able to get a cleric and a fighter and 2 mages to go and do this investigation, if I have them committed to do this. And then I also have, I'm able to study the arch if I'm able to get 2 mages and a cleric to do that too. And now here's the difference between these two. One of these is called a plot quest, the other one's just a quest. So the just plain old quest, that I'm going to show you a shot of right here, it doesn't have any text on the bottom of the picture, it's just plain. So when I complete that quest, I'm just going to flip it over and put it face down there. I'll move my scoring track up for the amount of scores that I would get, and take whatever reward it says. But here's another one too that says, study the Illisk Arch. So if I do that, I get a reward of 8 points, but then it also says here, look at this picture here, you can see where it says plot quest at the bottom of the picture, but then also you can see the reward section says, I get 8 points, but I also score 2 additional points whenever I get an Arcana quest completed. So if I was a smart player, I should have completed this one first, because I would have that ongoing effect that I place over on the other side of my board, and whenever I complete an Arcana quest, I get 2 additional points. So that's an example of how you keep your player area nice and clean. As you get workers, you put them in your tavern here. And these are supposed to symbolize people hanging out in your hangout, where you, as the Lord of Waterdeep, are keeping your people at your group of thugs or whatever you want to say you have, that are going to go ahead and carry out your will in the town of Waterdeep. So that's basically the player mat area. The game's basically done after 8 rounds. And you keep trying to complete these quests to get more and more points to win. The quests are just you trying to influence the town of Waterdeep with your people who you've persuaded to come work for you through your agents. And then there's one other little piece here I want us to take a look at. The last thing that I think needs mention is the unique box. This box, I know, is mentioned in every review practically, but I just think it's really a slick box because it does do the job real well. I know some people don't like it. Some people come up with different storage solutions, but I like how you just set the cards in there and then you push on one side, they pop right out. You don't have to try and bend your cards up and squeeze them to get them out. They just come out really easy like that. Same thing with your intrigue cards that go over here. So you just pop them right up. And same thing with these little chips here. Everything can come out real easy based on this. And even these little cube storages right here are like an inverted geodesic dome kind of thing. That, not geodesic, just an inverted dome. That basically you can just scoop things out with your hand real easy. So this storage is really actually pretty slick. And I know that people are afraid to put their box on end. I don't think I'd store this game on end, but even just like moving the box around and stuff, as long as you have that board on top of here, it locks most things in pretty well. These little chips here slide out, but I mean, other than that, everything stays in place pretty well. Everything on this component-wise is really top-notch. They did a nice job on this game. The only thing I would complain about on it is this lid that comes off. It's kind of a cool little shallow shoebox type lid, but I like to store my games where they nest the lid inside of itself, and you can't do that with this game. It just doesn't do that. And I mean, that might be a little bit of me nitpicking, but it would have been nice if they could have somehow worked out a way to store that lid in the box or on the box somehow while you're playing. But can't have everything, I guess. At any rate, let's see what Luke and I thought about the game now. So that's how you play. What'd you think of this when we played it?
Fun. I had a lot of fun playing it. Like, I like the way that we built the city, but that wasn't the only thing you could do. Like, for example, you could go to, I forgot what it was called, but you can go to some place to get spies, and there are missions, and yeah.
So you think it's pretty cool?
Yeah.
And the components were nice, right?
Right. Families, I guess it's okay. It's just that you might want to watch out what things you use, because some of the things are kind of, some of the definitions for the bosses and stuff is a little darker. Like, for, like, my guy I had, my boss, like, was a pirate, but he was like a knight, like an evil knight.
Yeah, so the game, you basically have these Lords of Waterdeep that are basically trying to control different factions, and I like how the theme plays out. It makes a lot of sense. A worker placement game, usually you're trying to get goods, and this one you're recruiting people, and what you're actually placing is agents who provide influence. So I think that's really a very cool part of this game. As far as the theme goes, that's very cool. The art in it's really great. The map feels cool. It looks like an old school board almost.
I'm not sure if I told the art and theme.
What do you think of the art and theme?
I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm pretty neutral for it. I'm not like, oh, this art's awesome, but I'm not like.
So just the art. You're giving it a 5?
Yeah, because I'm just like.
I think the art's pretty awesome on the cards. It's definitely awesome art on the cards.
Yeah.
The rest of it's kind of plain. But I think what I like about this game is that the quests are actually people that are doing things for you, and it makes sense. So it's like I'm trying to get a political uprising going, and so I need to recruit people to follow me. And it's just cool how that works out theme-wise. What else?
I guess the art is pretty good, but I don't know. It's just one of the themes that I'm not like, oh, building a city and trying to be mayor. That's awesome. And then I'm not like, oh, those theme is boring. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, this game, if you're a huge D&D fan, it's probably way for you because you know Waterdeep and you know like all the references and stuff. But we've never really played much D&D, so I mean, it's just kind of cool. But I like how you do recruit people to kind of like help with your uprising or your takeover. That's very neat. I like how the little like chit fits in the corner of the board. That's pretty clever. How you build the buildings, keep track of it. As far as the fun goes, I didn't think this game was as fun as some of the other worker placement games. Ones that we've reviewed here even, like Belfort, or one that we will do in the future, Manhattan Project. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was more fun than those. I will say where this is better than those other ones is it's really simple. This is a game that we sat down and played it. Within a round, we knew what we were doing, had kind of a strategy worked up, and it wasn't so tough to keep executing the strategy. But I think as far as family goes, I don't see a problem with this with families. I mean, especially if the kids Luke's age are better. I mean, it's the theme's not going to be darker than it is complex to play the game. So, I mean, a kid who can figure out the mechanic of this game is going to be okay with the pirates and magic and stuff like that. And it's not like hard into summoning or anything like that. So, I don't think that's a huge problem. It's a pretty good game overall. That's my feelings on it. I really enjoy it. I think the place for this is a more entry type worker placement game. This one's going to really threaten Stone Age to replace it. And I think if Luke had to compare it to Stone Age, he'd say this is a much more fun game.
Yes, I'd be like, get rid of Stone Age and keep this. But, because I'm not a big fan of Stone Age at all.
We need to play Stone Age again. It's been a while.
I actually have a question. If we get, like, maybe 100 subscribers or something, should we do our top 10 video? Maybe?
Sure. I guess we're going to be random here for a minute and just say, yeah, if we get 100 subscribers, we'll do our top 10 video. So we're at 51. We need more?
Well, we might have more because we haven't checked in a while.
Yeah, we might have more. At any rate, I guess we're announcing we'll do our top 10 list once we hit 100 subscribers. But getting back to Lords of Waterdeep, finishing thoughts on that. Luke, what's your overall thoughts on it? How do you want to wrap this up?
My finishing thoughts is it's an awesome game overall because I don't know. I just like how you put agents in the areas instead of like placing down bricks. Because in most worker placement games, I feel like when you place down a brick or a rock, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna place down this rock and it's gonna create a castle. You know?
Yeah.
Like I feel like you're having your agents build the stuff instead of just putting a rock on the ground and a castle appears.
Let's put a number on it. What do you think?
8.5.
Luke told me when we were playing this he liked it better than Belfort. He liked it better than Manhattan Project.
Yeah.
So this is probably his favorite worker placement game. And I felt like he kind of was a little meh about it in the review. But here you heard it. He thinks it's an awesome game. As far as what I think about it, I'm going to give it about a 7.5 or 8. I think the reason why this game exists is because it is going to get people to play more Euro games. People who are into like that fantasy theme, people who are into the whole D&D thing, will play this game just because of the D&D on the box, and then find that Euro worker placement type mechanics are kind of cool. And the whole mechanic works really well with this game. I think it's neat how you are recruiting people to come do your, dirty work or whatever. So I do like this game. I think I got it just to see what all the rage was about. And I think it's definitely solid. It's good enough that it's going to stay in the collection. The production value is really high on it. Overall, I would suggest it. Personally, I'm going to say I would rather play Belfort or Manhattan Project just because they're a little zany, a little fun. Luke thinks this one's cooler. He likes it better. It's probably a little more streamlined. So that's probably why Luke likes it a little better. But is that why you like it better?
What?
That it's a quicker play, it's easier to figure out? Or what makes it better?
Yeah, and also, I don't feel like it gets very repetitive because there's always new stuff coming up. Like, if somebody goes to the Builders Hall, there's a new building that you can go to, and there's just so much things that you can go to that it's always going to be a new turn almost.
Yeah, and some worker placement games don't have that. And that is nice that that's involved in this. So overall, this game has a lot of hype. I think it potentially lives up to it in some ways. If you don't have any worker placement games or you're big into the fantasy theme, this game's for you. It'd be a good intro into worker placement games. So that's all. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will talk to you next week. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Oh, did you have any other final thoughts?